When it comes to the PBS News debate, I think that Bernie Sanders won this time. I don't necessarily think that it was total domination, as was the case with the previous two debates, but I think that he definitely did have a lead on her. And this is because, again, same reasons last time. He had her on the defensive. He brought up such great points. And I think that because of that, he won. Now, again, I'm biased in favor of Bernie Sanders, so I'm going to agree with most everything that he says because, the facts are on his side. Hillary Clinton is always disingenuous. So I think it's fair to say, objectively speaking, that I'm not going to think Hillary Clinton ever won a debate. Unless she really, she gives an outstanding performance and, she overpowers him, puts him on the defensive. That would make me think Hillary Clinton won, but every time Bernie Sanders has performed very well in the debates for me. Overall, Hillary Clinton had a really aggressive demeanor. I mean, right off the bat, she wanted to jump at Bernie Sanders' throat. She wanted to attack him on healthcare, on pretty much everything, because he just won New Hampshire with a 22-point edge over her. That's insane. So if someone just beat you, the inevitable candidate, by 22 points, you're scared. And, we saw that on full display. Now, overall, this debate was not as exciting this time. There were less big moments of, gotcha, when it comes to Bernie Sanders versus Hillary Clinton. So nothing too exciting, still a great debate overall. So I'm going to go issue by issue since there's only two candidates. It doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to analyze, Bernie Sanders and then Hillary Clinton, because that's going to be kind of redundant because I'll talk about Bernie on healthcare and then Hillary on healthcare. I'm just going to consolidate them into different categories. So healthcare. So again, Hillary Clinton was being completely disingenuous, and this really bothered me. So she said that the numbers don't add up with Bernie's healthcare plan, and that, citizens are going to pay more in taxes, but they won't get that big of a return. I don't think she realizes how much we're paying on our private insurance premiums each month. And furthermore, what she doesn't realize is that if we actually do get sick, even though we have insurance, some of us have deductibles at $5,000 or $10,000. If that's the price, you're not going to be able to get care, and if you do, you could potentially become bankrupt. I mean, you don't understand the situation that we're in, Hillary. I mean, some people are so financially on the edge that anything can push them towards bankruptcy, and that's not good for the economy, so she just doesn't understand. She's out of touch. Now, also, she said that, me and Bernie both share the goal of universal health care. If it's Medicare for all, however, then we no longer have the Affordable Care Act, and because of this, many people will be worse off. That's a lie. That's an outright bold-faced lie. So, first and foremost, will Bernie Sanders be doing away with the Affordable Care Act? My answer is I don't care. I don't think about healthcare policy in categorical terms versus good or bad. It's not, well, if Obama goes away, that's just bad. I don't care if Obamacare goes away. The goal is universal healthcare and to get rid of this disgusting, grotesque private insurance industry. That's what Bernie Sanders' plan does. So the fact that she tries to do that, it's a trick, okay? She knows that citizens will be better off under Bernie Sanders' plan. That's why she endorsed universal healthcare and fought for it in the 1990s, and she gave up once she was bought off by the health insurance industry and she took speaking fees on their behalf. Or she gave speeches and took huge fees on their behalf. So that's a lie. She's completely misleading you. Because Democratic voters approve of the Affordable Care Act, she's hoping to kind of capitalize on their ignorance. That, if that goes away, then we'll be worse off. That's not the case. Don't buy it. Now, also, she said, we're not England or France. But Bernie Sanders had the perfect response. Look, this is what it comes down to. There's one major industrialized country in the world that does not have universal health care. That's the United States of America. So Hillary Clinton, she's losing this battle. When the race first started, 51% of general voters, that's Republicans and Democrats, approved of universal health care, and now that's 55%. Not to mention 81% of Democrats support it. So she's losing this battle, and she just needs to concede already and admit that she has the worst policy. She just has to do that, because the more she does this, the more bad it's going to be for her. So when it comes to criminal justice reform, Bernie Sanders excelled here. I think this was the highlight of the evening for me. He demonstrated real knowledge. He actually gave you specific details. He actually really illustrated to us that he knows what he's talking about. He knows the plight of the African American community. I thought it was phenomenal. I mean, what a great display for him. He had facts on his side. He talked about real numbers, how the youth African American unemployment rate is astronomical. He actually gave specifics. Hillary Clinton, she spoke in more generality. She said, well, we have to do more than just criminal justice reform. We need to get them, good employment, education, and whatnot. There's systemic discrimination in those areas too. But she didn't get into the specifics, and that's what you really have to do. You have to dive into the nuance, and I don't think Hillary Clinton did that. But there's one criticism that I do have about Bernie Sanders here. When you're talking about criminal justice reform and institutional racism, you have to bring up the private prison industry and how this incentivizes the lockup of people, and how this disgusting industry has disproportionately targeted African Americans. So he spoke about this, how the criminal justice system does target African Americans and Latinos, but the private prison industry, that's right there. I mean, you got to talk about them. This is a very, very close issue that is related to that. So I wish Bernie Sanders would have brought this up. And he could have hit Hillary Clinton on this because she took money from the private prison industry. She stopped doing that because she got so much criticism. But he could have hit her on this, and it would have been fantastic. So Bernie, do this next time. Okay, when it comes to immigration, again, Bernie Sanders shined here. Hillary Clinton tried to come up with this line saying, look, he voted against immigration reform, but what Bernie Sanders said was the truth. Well, this bill would make it so that way, undocumented workers would be in slave-like conditions. They would be exploited. They couldn't challenge that. And that's disgusting. It's grotesque. And this is why a lot of, immigration organizations were with me on this. They also said to vote against this bill. So again, another case where Hillary Clinton was being disingenuous, but also I like how he got her on the fact that she didn't want to allow children from Honduras to stay. They're coming from violent areas, and she wanted to send them back. That's just straight up immoral, and I'm glad that Bernie Sanders brought this up here, and I think that he actually got her on this. I don't think she's going to recover from this, and this is something that people need to know. So when it comes to donations, the moderator, I gotta applaud them because they asked, you said there's no quid pro quo with your Wall Street donations. Is that the same case for the Republicans? So is there no quid pro quo between them and the Koch brothers? Woo! She dodged that like the Matrix. She was not gonna go there because she likes to talk about how the Republicans are corrupt, and they are. Nobody's disputing that. But she needs to tell us and illustrate to us how she's different than the Republicans. She is really, really close to Wall Street. If you Google Lloyd Blankfein, the CEO of Goldman Sachs, with Hillary Clinton's name, there are multiple pictures of them together. It's just, and you don't have to look at that. What you do have to look at is the donations. And when you look at who's donating to her super PAC. Out of 25 million, Wall Street donated 15 million. They really, really, really want her in office. And you know why that's the case. And Bernie Sanders said, look, let's not insult the intelligence of the American people. Why does Wall Street make these huge contributions? They're going to get something in return. That was fire right there. That was so, so good. We're not stupid. We're not naive. We know that if you give something, especially, speaking fees, let's say, for $675,000 for 3 speaking fees, about 3 hours, you're expecting something in return. If you want to know about Hillary Clinton's grand ideas, you can Google that or YouTube her. But you're not going to pay her that much money. Just, I support you. I want to hear your ideas. No. You want something in return. We're not dumb. It's insulting. It really is insulting to me. Now, Hillary is still saying that we can break up the big banks because of Dodd-Frank if they pose a risk. So right there, that word if, she's saying if they pose a risk. Hillary, they already pose a risk. So this just proves and shows to us that you're not serious about breaking up the big banks. You can talk a big game. You can say, look, I'll break them up if they get, a little bit too big, if they're risky. But we've already surpassed that. Okay, they're too big. You have to break them up. And the fact that she hasn't committed to that just proves that, she's not going to be tough on Wall Street. Now, when it comes to foreign policy, Bernie dominated here. I thought that Bernie Sanders' performance on foreign policy has steadily improved throughout the debates, but right here, he wiped the floor with Hillary Clinton. He's demonstrated that she is not capable of making good decisions. So he mentioned Mohammad Mossadegh in Iran, how we overthrew their democratically elected government. This was so good. He talked about how Hillary Clinton participated in this by overthrowing Gaddafi. And look, if you go through Latin America, how many democratically elected governments we overthrew? It's insane. I mean, if you look at Chile, we overthrew Allende, who he was a socialist. Now, furthermore, Hillary Clinton said a vote in 2002 is not a plan to defeat ISIS. That's terrible. She's trying to sidestep the fact that she voted for the Iraq War, and I'm sorry, but that's unforgivable. You vote for the Iraq War, you can say you're sorry, and that's fine, but that doesn't bring back the 200,000 people that died. You can read a ton of books from scholars and firsthand accounts of the violence you spawned a Shia and Sunni civil war. It was a bloodbath. We really question your judgment, and you've still shown questionable judgment. You haven't learned your lesson. You still want a Syrian no-fly zone. Obama doesn't support that. He's pretty hawkish, but he doesn't support a Syrian no-fly zone. Why do you, Hillary? And furthermore, I love that Bernie Sanders brought up the fact that Henry Kissinger is someone who is supporting Hillary Clinton. That proves a lot. That says so much. I was like screaming at my computer when he said that, because Henry Kissinger, look, if you've taken a political science class in international relations, you're going to hear about, Henry Kissinger's domino theory of communism. So that way, if, one country falls to communism, it's going to have a domino effect, and then, their neighbors will fall, and their neighbors will fall, and whatnot. And that was the reason for us to, get involved and invade all these countries. That part of it, Latin America and whatnot. That's why they didn't want socialism there. And part of why they overthrew Allende. So I love that he brought this up. So when it comes to Iran, Hillary is vehemently against normalizing relations with them, and nobody's saying that they're good actors, but you can't think about these countries in categorical terms as good or bad. I mean, there's nuance to it, okay? We have to understand that there's a long history of bad blood between Iran and the United States. The citizens of Iran are completely different than their theocratic leaders. So you have to understand how potentially escalating bad relations with Iran could disproportionately impact them. And here's what I want to get to. So Hillary Clinton has said this multiple times. We've got to get unaccountable money out of politics. No, this is a red herring. When Bernie Sanders says things about money in politics, he says we need to get money out of politics. Hillary Clinton says we need to get unaccountable money out of politics. All she wants is more transparency. She wants super PACs to disclose their donors. But here's the deal. We need to get money out of politics. Okay? It doesn't matter if we're more transparent. Do you think that's going to dissuade all these billionaires and corporations from donating to super PACs? We already, they know that we know that they're corrupt. So that's not going to dissuade them. We need to get money out of politics. We need to move to publicly financed elections. That's what Bernie Sanders wants. And the fact that Hillary Clinton just wants to get unaccountable money out, I mean, that's a step in the right direction. I'm not going to say don't do that, but it just proves that she doesn't want to get money out of politics because she benefits from it. She has a super PAC and whatnot. Well, Bernie Sanders, what I wish he would bring up is the fact that, look, you have a super PAC. You have unaccountable money. So are you in favor of banning super PACs if you're elected? So Hillary Clinton is not serious about this. So for all these reasons, I think Bernie Sanders won, and I think that this is going to help him again. So we've really got to up the ante, and I think that Bernie Sanders did that. I hope that he is a lot more direct. I don't want to say aggressive. I hope he's more direct in pointing out these contrasting differences between him and Hillary next time. But overall, great debate.
Thanks for watching the Humanist Report. Don't forget to subscribe and check us out at humanistreport.com.